So I met you when you were doing a fun talk on the Salem witch trials. And I remember it was in the 1600s, I believe. And there were two sisters.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, that's how it started.
Okay, tell us. Because
Well,
I can't remember the details. Maybe you can. I don't know.
Well, it's just a bizarre thing. It was a witch hunt, in 1692. And what happened was one morning, the daughter of the priest, the minister in that town, which was Salem,
Salem. What state's Salem in?
Massachusetts.
Oh, yeah, right.
The minister in that town, Salem Village, his daughter began throwing fits and talking gibberish, just like the actress in The Exorcist. I mean, contortions and all of this. And she had a first cousin who lived in the house with her. A woman was named Abigail Williams, I think. The first cousin took on the same attributes, contortions and, everything. Just think about The Exorcist. And that's what they were doing. And so, something was wrong.
Have they theorized what was wrong with them?
No, they had no idea. They were witchcraft.
Oh,
they were bewitched.
Oh, I got you.
And that was a criminal offense. In fact, you could be executed for being a witch under the laws of, it was a colony then, the Bay Colony in Massachusetts, what became Massachusetts. So it was a serious, serious thing. And they had people like Cotton Mather, who was a minister in Boston, who came down and said, yeah, I think these people are witches, But they actually had trials, and it wound up with about, I think, maybe 19 people being executed, a couple of men, but by and large they were women, hanged as witches. And I think one man was buried under stones, but for the most part they were hanged. They weren't burned at the stake. That happened in Europe. Sweden, they had a similar situation where they went after the witches. But they were hanged.
Now these two girls they didn't do anything to these two girls, did they?
No, as it turned out.
Because they ended up pointing the finger at somebody
Absolutely.
else.
See, they were ministers of good, and they could say, okay, I'm accusing her. It was something where you didn't actually have to have proof. You could just say that this woman who is a beggar in town, she's a witch. She gave me the evil eye, whatever.
And that's how come I'm having fits.
And that's why I'm having fits. I'm being bewitched by her. And there was someone else in that household we're talking about. It was the Parris, Parris household. There was a slave that worked in that household from Barbados named Tituba. And Tituba was accused of taking some of these young girls out into the field and teaching them events, like heathen events, stripping to the waist and all that.
Oh, rituals.
And rituals, thank you. And so Tituba and the two girls were the first three to be arrested and put in jail.
But then not any of those three ended up being executed because they were clever.
It was just the people that they accused.
So they would go to jail and start saying, oh, I'm bewitched by the baker down the street.
Yeah. People they didn't like. People that they had heard bad things about.
So they became experts on who was a witch and who wasn't.
That's right. And when some of their peers, adolescents, they were all adolescents, prepubescent, when some of their peers realized how much attention they were getting, and these were girls, they decided, I want to join in with them. This is kind of fun. I think such and such, so-and-so is a witch. So it really spread throughout the community. They started having trials, and they had magistrates sit and hear testimony against these people who were supposedly witches. And it was just, it was hysteria is what it was.
Yeah, it is. Was there a jury, or did a judge just go, yeah, I believe her?
It was, the magistrates pretty much decided it. And then they brought the charges, and then there was a jury after that. There was a jury, but the jury was not going to take an opposite approach from the magistrates. And the popular opinion was such it was pro-conviction. It was hard to vote in favor of a witch.
Why?
Because witches were, if you looked like a witch, if you were destitute, your hair was stringy, you had this, that, and the other, you were considered to be evil for the community.
Or
You
too
needed to
smart.
be-
I thought they got rid of smart women like that. I was like, I'd be burned at the stake.
Well, there was one person, and the governor of the colony.
What?
There was one person who was accused and and convicted, and the governor of the colony said, no, we're not going to convict her. We're not going to execute her. And there was such an outrage by the people in Salem. They said, no, we've got to execute her. And they did. And it was just, it was
so
terrible.
what was the Barbados
Tituba.
So didn't she end up getting the young girls in trouble somehow?
Well, yes, she did. She did. And they got her in trouble.
Because the young girls fingered her, and then she fingered the young girls back somehow.
Yeah, they were in cahoots. And Tituba told stories about riding on brooms and that sort of thing.
The
she
house?
made all around the house and how she had seen this, that, and the other. Not so much the two girls that she had raised. She was the nanny for these girls in the house. But it was other girls that she talked about who were...
Did the preacher get to stay the preacher?
He got to stay the preacher, and about 6 months later, he said, I think I was over my skis on this one. And he kind of backed up. And again, his parishioner said, you can't do that. So he kind of got more steel and said, okay, I think we have been besought by witchcraft. But then at the end, when everybody was reversing themselves, he reversed himself and had to leave the community.
Well, there you go. Well, I just want to say in closing, thank you to my listeners for spending time with us. We hope you've heard or learned something that's been inspiring or enlightening, and that whatever it is, will help you up your business, your independence, or your life. I'm Carrie McCoy, and I'll see you next time on Up in Your Business. Until then, be brave and keep it up.
If you liked this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking on the picture of Carrie's face in the center of the screen. For more of Carrie's interviews, click either video on the right of the screen. And as always, thank you for watching.